Point of order, Lucy Powell.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. I wonder if you could clarify for the House how we could get some transparency to the questions that the Prime Minister failed to answer about the Business Secretary's dispute with the former chair of the Post Office, and whose recollection of that meeting is, in fact, correct. And have we got any recourse as members of this House to get the minutes of that meeting? Because the Business Secretary said at no point was anyone told to delay compensation payments, either by an official or a minister or any government department. And what we've heard this morning, and the Prime Minister failed to answer in Prime Minister's questions today, doesn't answer that question for us. I don't know if you could help clarify that matter. I don't know if you speak to it.
Well, I thank the Honourable Lady for her point of order. It really isn't a matter for the Chair, but she has come in very quickly after Prime Minister's questions to put her point on the record, and I know that the Treasury bench will have heard what she has to say. Point of order, Liam Byrne.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I wonder if you could advise me how we can get to the bottom of exactly what is going on with our Canadian trade talks. On the 25th of January, Politico broke a story about a breakdown in our trade talks with Canada, and I asked the Secretary of State about this, and she said this: "This is a good opportunity for me to state explicitly that the talks have not broken down." Now, on our committee, we trust but verify. And, Madam Deputy Speaker, you will be as surprised as I was to hear the news relayed in a letter from the Canadian High Commissioner that says, "As far as I'm aware, since the UK announced its pause on the 25th of January, there have been neither negotiations nor technical discussions with respect to any of the outstanding issues." Now, Canada is a NATO ally, it's a Commonwealth partner, it's one of our biggest export markets. How do we get to the bottom of whether these trade talks are going on in the Secretary of State's mind, or whether they're happening in real life?
Well, I thank the Right Honourable gentleman for his point of order and for giving notice of it. As he knows, I am not responsible for the accuracy of Ministers' statements in the House, but I am sure, again, that the Treasury bench will have heard his remarks, and also, obviously, as Chair of the Select Committee, he will have further opportunities to pursue the matter directly with the Secretary of State, and I'm pretty sure that that is what he intends to do. Thank you. Point of order. I'll take John McDonnell first, because he's stood first.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. There's large numbers of our constituents who have come to lobby Parliament today, obviously because the issue of Gaza is so close to their hearts. In Westminster Hall, there's only a limited number that are being allowed in, even though there's quite sizable amounts of space. So many of the constituents are actually being forced to stand out in the rain. Would it be possible to see what could be done to accommodate more into Westminster Hall as they then come and filter on the green card system?
Well, I thank the Right Honourable gentleman for his point of order. I will certainly. This is a matter, obviously, that the House authorities will be dealing with, and I will ensure that his comments are fed back to see if anything further can be done. But I'm sure that he will appreciate that if there are large numbers of people trying to gain entrance, then that can cause some delays inevitably. And I'm sure you're sorry about that, but as I say, I will feed back his comments. Point of order, Bob Blackman.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. Later on today, we will obviously be casting votes on very sensitive matters that affect the whole House. At the start of that debate, no doubt Mr Speaker will be announcing which amendments, if any, he is going to allow to be put to this House. When he was elected, he gave a solemn promise that he would publish the advice that he got from the clerk of the House when he made controversial decisions. This will clearly, I don't know what he's going to decide or what his recommendation is, but could you prevail on him when he comes back to the chair to release the advice that is given by the clerk in whatever decision he comes to on the amendments to the SNP motion that we'll be debating this afternoon?
Well, I thank the honourable gentleman for his point of order. I'm sure that his comments will have been heard, and that Mr. Speaker will make his decision in due course with all the comments that the honourable gentleman has raised about publication. But I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you. Point of order, Karl.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. I wonder if you could give me some advice. My office wrote to the Home Secretary more than 6 weeks ago, and we've still not received a response from him about an issue raised by a constituent. It's becoming increasingly clear that ministers are either willfully refusing to respond to members of Parliament, or simply, perhaps rather worryingly, just treating members of Parliament with sheer contempt. What do we do, Madam Deputy Speaker, to force ministers to do their duty and respond appropriately to members of this House?
Well, I thank the honourable gentleman for his point of order. I know this is an issue that has been raised with the Leader of the House at business questions. I know the Leader of the House takes this very seriously. The honourable gentleman might like to raise it on Thursday again at business questions, but I do have confidence that the Treasury bench has heard his comments, have written them down, and will feed them back.
Point of order, Madam Deputy Speaker.
Point of order, Dame Diana Johnson.
Madam Deputy Speaker, you will know that yesterday in the House there was an urgent question on border security. Later on that afternoon, it became public that the Independent Chief Inspector of Borders and Immigration had been sacked by the Home Secretary, who it is claimed the Home Secretary lost confidence in the Independent Inspector. It was quite clear from the urgent question yesterday that one of the issues that the Chief Inspector was most exercised by was the 15 reports that he had lodged with the Home Office since April 2023, which have not been published. The agreement with the Chief Inspector is that reports that he submits to the Home Office should be published within 8 weeks. Clearly, a number of those reports are well overdue. I wondered, Madam Deputy Speaker, if you'd heard had any indication from ministers about whether they were planning to come to the House to make a statement about Mr David Neil and the fact that he was sacked yesterday afternoon, and more importantly, what's happened to the 15 reports that the Chief Inspector has lodged since April last year, many of which are on important issues. Further to that, Madam Deputy Speaker, there is an issue about the government introducing legislation which this House is very concerned about in terms of the Rwanda policy and asylum seekers being moved to Rwanda to have their claims processed. But in terms of the lack of anyone now in the Chief Inspector role, that will mean that there is no independent oversight or scrutiny at a time when a major policy decision is going to be implemented by the government. The Home Affairs Select Committee is particularly concerned by any delay. We've heard we saw in the Times there is a report that it will be 6 to 9 months before a new independent Chief Inspector of Borders and Immigration is appointed. Can you advise the best way forward, Madam Deputy Speaker?
Well, I thank the Right Honourable Lady for her point of order. She's raised a number of points. I have not received any notification that a statement is forthcoming on the point that she made. She did refer to an urgent question yesterday. Two things. First of all, I know the Right Honourable Lady regularly attends business questions. This may be something that she might like to press the Leader of the House on at business questions. The Treasury bench has heard again what she has had to say and will feed it back. And I'm sure in her role as Chair of the Home Affairs Select Committee, she may also have other means to pursue the issues that she's raised, particularly perhaps in respect of reports that she may be able to ask for, but she will possibly know more than me about that. Thank you. Point of order, Matt Weston.
Madam Deputy Speaker, a year ago tomorrow, I raised with the Prime Minister a really important point, which was about the payment of a fine to the EU of £2.3 billion. Following that question to him, I wrote to the Prime Minister asking for an explanation. A year on, I've not had a reply. Now, I would have thought it would be in the interest of all in this House to understand how it was that a payment of £2.3 billion was paid as a fine for late payment to the EU, and that's in our interest to understand what happened. So is there any recourse that I can take to understand what happened?
Well, I thank the honourable gentleman for his point of order. Again, I don't have responsibility for the answers given, but he has. It may well be that he could pursue this through further questions to the table office. Again, the Treasury bench will have heard what he has to say, and I very much hope they will feed back this rather long list of messages to the government. Thank you. We now... Point of order, Dame Angela Eagle, but I hope it will be quite a short one.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Quicker if people are shouting out. So some silence so I can hear the point of order and deal with it quickly. Dame Angela Eagle.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker. On the Treasury Select Committee, we've been considering the work of UK government investments across a range of issues, and we have now got to a situation. Now got to a situation where quite complex decisions, which appear to have been referred to at board meetings of the Post Office, are obtuse to us. And I wonder, Madam Deputy Speaker, given the disagreement between government ministers and those representatives from UK GI which are on the board of the Post Office are very obtuse and hard to unravel, whether she has any advice on how we can bring these important issues to the floor of the House.
Well, the Right Honourable Lady is obviously on the Treasury Select Committee and a senior member of it. Again, we have noted what she said. It will be fed back, but she might like to pursue it either through the Treasury Committee or even perhaps talk to the chair of the Business Select Committee, who I know are looking at this at the moment. Right. Can we now move on, please?